60. Contingent ya kwanza ikihusisha vikundi 10 wanajitayarisha sasa kuweza kupita mbele ya jukwaa kutoa heshima zao kwa mwendo wa polepole, huku bendi yetu ikitokea magharibi mwa uwanja chini ya usimamizi wake Director of Music Inspector Charles Bore wako tayari kabisa kuweza kuchukua nafasi zao. Anayeshughulikia nidhamu ya kikundi hicho ni Sergeant Felix Setabao. Kikundi cha pili kikiongozwa naye Chief Inspector Bernard Ngeya akisaidiana naye Inspector Christina Amadi. Mkuu wa nidhamu katika kikundi hiki Mheshimiwa Rais Sergeant Sapil Olisa. Kikundi cha tatu, Mheshimiwa Rais, kinaongozwa naye Chief Inspector Grace Mudike akisaidiana naye Inspector Felix Ekai. Mkuu wa nidhamu katika kikundi hiki ni Sergeant Judith Onchwari. Kikundi cha nne, Mheshimiwa Rais, kinaongozwa naye Chief Inspector Ali Zuya akisaidiana naye Inspector Moses Leparan. Mkuu wa nidhamu katika kikundi hiki ni Sergeant Kevin Wandeto. Mheshimiwa Rais, kitafuata kikundi cha tano kikiongozwa naye Chief Inspector Joseph Mutai akisaidiana naye Inspector Linet Machupi. Mkuu wa nidhamu katika kikundi hiki ni Sergeant Serafino. Mwisho wa onyesho hilo, Mheshimiwa Rais, ni kikundi cha 10 kikiongozwa naye Inspector David Wanaswa akisaidiana naye Inspector Safari Kenga. Nyuma ya kikundi hicho, Mheshimiwa Rais, ni Sergeant Job Orina. Katikati ni parade RSM wetu Sergeant Masai Mate. Anayemalizia udia basi ni kiranja wa gwaride letu Chief Inspector Clement Nauko. Asante. gwaride linabadili mwendo kutoka mwendo wa polepole hadi mwendo wa kasi. Vikundi vyote 60 vitaweza kupita mbele ya jukwaa kuweza kutoa heshima zao. Mheshimiwa Rais kuweza kulinda misitu yetu masaa 24. Vikundi vyote 60 vitapita mbele yako kwa mwendo wa kasi. Tunaomba basi kujumuika naye Mheshimiwa Rais kuweza kupokea heshima kutoka kwa askari hawa. Kikundi cha 6 kikiongozwa naye Chief Inspector Al Chergut, akisaidiana naye Inspector Benjamin Okring. Mkuu wa nidhamu katika kikundi hicho ni Sergeant Alan Asbigo. Kitafuata sasa Mheshimiwa Rais, kikundi cha 7 kikiongozwa naye Chief Inspector John Liwa, akisaidiana naye Inspector Washira Gatweria. Mkuu wa nidhamu katika kikundi hicho ni Sergeant Alfred Wekesa. Kinafuata kikundi cha 8 Mheshimiwa Rais, kikiongozwa naye Chief Inspector Jennifer Tompoi, akisaidiana naye Inspector Samuel Magige. Mkuu wa nidhamu ni Sergeant Martin Ngatia. Kikundi cha 9 Mheshimiwa Rais, kinaongozwa naye Chief Inspector George Kimani, akisaidiana naye Inspector Michael Court. Mkuu wa nidhamu Sergeant Bukayo Dida. mwisho wa maonyesho ya vikundi. Bendi yetu inaondoka tayari kabisa kuweza kupisha gwaride. Kwa hivi sasa askari hao wanajitayarisha kuja mbele yake Mheshimiwa Rais, hatua 14.
Number 2, number 3, number 10, number 11, number 12, number 10. Water. Don't slide. One. Turn up! Stand! My left hand division! And Manga don't slide. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 10, number 11, number 21. Don't slide. And the left. One. Turn up! Stand! My right hand division! Good! And advance in review order! Side and tap! Big man!
Basi tunaomba kusimama kwa wimbo wa taifa.
National salute! His hand arms!
Mheshimiwa Rais, wanachukua sasa nafasi zao wakuu wa kichungaji kitengo cha walinda misitu kutongoza katika hafla ya kutoa kiapo. Karibu.
As required and authorized by law, do my utmost to preserve the peace and prevent offenses against the same, and that I shall, to the best of my skills and knowledge, discharge all the duties of a forest ranger faithfully according to the law, and that during my tenure in the Kenya Forest Service, I shall observe all such lawful orders as may be given to me, and I shall observe all acts, regulations and orders relating to the Kenya Forest Service, which may from time to time be enforced. So help me God.
Mheshimiwa Daktari William Ruto, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa Majeshi ya Ulinzi, nikubali sasa niweze kumwalika mkuu wa chuo chetu aendeleze ratiba iliyosalia. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, and the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, Forest Law Enforcement Academy welcomes you to this passing out parade. And to proceed, I'll invite the Chief Conservator of Forests to guide us on the next program. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, sir, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, the the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, the Principal Secretary for the State Department of Forestry and that of Environment, guests that are here, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, sir, today marks a very momentum day for Kenya Forest Service because of your gesture, we today have these rangers who are ready to be deployed to the field. We thank you for that gesture and may God bless you. And without taking much time, it's now my duty to welcome the Governor for Nakuru to come and say 1 or 2 words and thereafter invite the CS for Environment. Welcome. .
1 Oh, thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Honorable Soipan Tuya, Principal Secretaries, Chairman, Kenya Forest Service Board, the Chief Conservator of Forests. Mine here today, Your Excellency, is really just to introduce all our leaders who are with us this morning. And I will begin with our area MP, Madam Speaker, Madam Mheshimiwa Wangari. Asante. We also have the MP for Nakuru Town East, Mheshimiwa Gikaria, who is the chair of the Environment Committee in the National Assembly. Your Excellency, we also have, you have Madam Gathambi Charity, the Member of Parliament for Njoro, and also the chair of the Climate Change Caucus in Parliament. We have Senator Tabitha Karanja, the Senator of Nakuru. Oh, sorry. Okay. We have Honorable Lisa Chelule, the Women Rep Nakuru County. We also have Mheshimiwa Kamuren, who is the MP Baringo South. And Your Excellency, I have my colleague, who is the Governor of Taita Taveta, Governor Mwadime, but also the chair, or rather also the chair of the Environment Committee of the Council of Governors. And Your Excellency, today I will only congratulate. My role here will just be to congratulate and wish the very best for our forest rangers who are graduating here today. And as they join this noble national cause, wish them all the best going forward in their careers and in helping you and us in conserving the forests. And as I conclude, I say Genesis, I quote Genesis 2:15, which says, "The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it." So as you proceed, please help us conserve our forests. Thank you, Your Excellency, and let me take this time to invite the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Her Excellency, Madam Soipan Tuya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Governor. Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Cabinet Secretary colleagues present. I see Honorable Zachary Njeru, the Cabinet Secretary for Water and Sanitation, the Governor of Nakuru County, Her Excellency, Madam Susan Kihika, members of Parliament present, led by the area MP, Honorable Martha Wangari. I also recognize my chairman of the National Assembly Committee on Environment, Honorable David Gikaria, as well as all the members of the committee present. Also, Honorable Kadhambi, who is the National Assembly Climate Change Caucus Chair. My principal secretaries, PS for Forestry, Honorable Gitonga Mugambi, and Engineer Festus Ngeno for Environment and Climate Change, the Regional Commissioner, and the entire security team present here, the Kenya Forest Service Board, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, on behalf of the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, allow me to welcome you to the Forest Law Enforcement Academy, here hosted by the National Youth Service. This day marks a great milestone in the work of our ministry. The 2,664 Kenya Forest Rangers in the pass-out parade today is the largest number that has ever been in any single pass-out parade for the Kenya Forest Service since independence. On behalf of the recruits, their parents, guardians, and the people of Kenya, allow me to thank you for making this possible. And it goes to show the seriousness and the high level of regard that you have for the need for us to conserve our natural resources in this country. I also wish to thank the NYS for hosting us and for exemplifying the all-government approach in assisting the Kenya Forest Service to make this a reality, and to specifically also thank the Chief Conservator of Forests as well as the academy commanders for the exemplary job they have put in to make this a reality. And again, thank the PS Forestry, Gitonga Mugambi, for guiding the process carefully. Your Excellency, the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry has been facing numerous challenges, which include illegal logging, charcoal burning, forest encroachment, among others. We have been working with various partners to increase and improve our forest surveillance to tame these problems. We have improved our forest fires response system, both through technology and mounting surveillance points across our forests. We are also exploring, and with the support of partners, the use of drones to detect illegal forest activities. Your Excellency, you also know that we are calling out to our partners to help us fence off all our protected ecosystems in the country. With all this, Your Excellency, the passing out of these recruits today will only come to complement in a big way these efforts, which will improve the health of our forest ecosystems. Your Excellency, forests are important for Kenya. They provide many resources that we use in our daily lives. They are a biodiversity haven, giving home to important biodiversity which support human existence. They help in the mitigation of climate change because of their ability for carbon sequestration. Forests support jobs in the forest value chain. As a ministry, we look forward, and we have put measures in place to deploy these forest rangers who are graduating today to the various hotspots to address the challenges that I have mentioned, Your Excellency, and to safeguard and enhance our forest plantations to help us make the best use of our forest resources. Forests sustain rural livelihoods, especially for the forest-adjacent communities. Forests remove harmful pollutants from the atmosphere and pump in oxygen. They protect us from natural disasters, offer recreation for sports and tourism. They offer a wide variety of ecosystem services that support human beings. In short, Your Excellency, forests are life. Your Excellency, I have highlighted all these benefits of forest, which is in line with our national landscape and ecosystem restoration program towards the growing of 15 billion trees that you launched last year, to underscore the fact that all these activities that you lead us in delivering are not only useful for the environment, for the environment's sake, but for the whole of humanity, given the interconnectedness of the environment, human rights, and sustainable development. Your Excellency, we are waiting with bated breath for the short rains to come. And Your Excellency, as we wait for heavens to bless us and we are praying, we have set in place the strategy for each and every individual Kenyan to take their space to help us realize the growing and nurturing of 15 billion trees. Your Excellency, as you know, it is a whole government approach, and I would like to encourage our county governments, and here we are in Nakuru today. Her Excellency, Governor Susan, she has her targets. Our members of parliament have their targets. Your Excellency, the private sector have come out with a lot of enthusiasm to support our efforts. Each and every ministry, department, and agency of government has their targets rolled out. And we are saying to individual Kenyans, at the very bare minimum, if we do 100 trees per Kenyan per year, we are going to surpass the 15 billion tree growing target. It is doable. Your Excellency, we are putting in a lot of effort with the support of all the MDAs that have been enumerated, particularly the National Youth Service, the Kenya Defense Forces, the State Department of Correctional Services, to propagate and produce and distribute seedlings across the country. And we are inviting Kenyans, as we pray for the rain, please take your space, go to the nearest Kenya Forest Service facility near you. You will have available seedlings to cover the short rains. Go to the Kenya Forestry Research Institute, Your Excellency, with your support. We are now having 11 seed centers across the country, and I invite all Kenyans to pick their seedlings. As we wait for the rains, let us join efforts to make this a reality. It is doable. And with that, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say congratulations to all the Kenya Forest Rangers on this pass-out parade today. And I now take this honor, Your Excellency, to invite you to address us this morning. Karibu, Your Excellency.
Asanteni sana. Tafadhali tuketi chini wale mko na viti. Thank you very much. Graduates, the Kenya Forest Service community, pamoja na wazazi wetu wote waliofika hapa, hamjambo. I am delighted to join the graduates, their families and friends, as well as the Kenya Forest Service Law Enforcement Academy community, as you celebrate this important milestone in the careers of the graduates. The history of this academy, the sustainability of the forest sector and conservation movement, as well as our country's journey to the fulfillment of our collective determination to sustain the environment for the benefit of present and future generations. This occasion, therefore, positions the graduating class, together with the Kenya Forest Service in its entirety and the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, as the focal point of a critical constitutional mandate with existential implications, not only for us in Kenya, but for humanity in its entirety. Article 42 of the Constitution recognizes every person's right to a clean and healthy environment, which includes the right to have the environment protected for the benefits of the present and future generations, and to have obligations relating to environment fulfilled under Article 70. Article 69 sets out the state's obligations in respect of the environment, which include ensuring the sustainable management and conservation of the environment and natural resources, achieving and maintaining tree cover at least 10% of the national land area, and eliminating those processes and activities likely to endanger the environment. Our National Development Blueprint, the Kenya National Vision 2030, makes a clean and secure environment a necessary component of our development agenda. Moreover, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda commits us to implement the constitutional tree cover mandate together with the strategies to achieve mitigation, adaptation, and resilience in response to the impacts of climate change as part of a broader program to fulfill our commitment to reduce emissions by 32% by 2030. More than 2/3 of our landmass is arid and semi-arid rangelands. As a result of climate change, extreme weather, including prolonged and severe drought as well as flooding, have caused unprecedented levels of devastation through famine, loss of livelihoods, dried crops and dead animals, both livestock and for the first time wild game. Our increased vulnerability to extreme weather and climate conditions is a consequence of negligent and dangerous human activity, such as the wanton destruction of forests, indiscriminate felling of trees, and clearing of vegetation, unsustainable land use practices, and the reckless encroachment of riparian and wetland ecosystems. Climate change itself, caused by global warming as a result of dangerous accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, is driven by industrial emissions and pollution and the systematic compromising of the Earth's capacity to sequester carbon and the atmosphere using its natural lungs, which are our forests. Kenya is a strong champion of climate action with a track record of Pan-African and global leadership and participation in such frameworks, programs, and initiatives as the Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework on Convention on Climate Change, the Paris Summit, and most recently, the first ever Africa Climate Summit. We are also the home of the United Nations Environmental Programme, UNEP, and have a long history of effective climate and environmental multilateral diplomacy. Our commitments with regard to climate action are therefore fundamental to our development agenda and critical to our national interest. The protection of biodiversity is a constitutional obligation of the state that touches on fundamental rights of present and future generations of all our citizens. Our tree cover and forests sit at the heart of this commitment, both in terms of protection and conservation, and also with respect to enhancement and protection of all our environmental assets. I find it important to share this context with you, and especially with the graduates. If anyone told you, young people standing before me today, that your job is a routine occupation, they are very mistaken. You enter our national economic transformation equation as the people's trustees and guarantors of fundamental constitutional mandates and custodians of our forest value chain, which comprises critical resources and essential community assets. Our lives and livelihoods depend on the protection and sustenance of our biodiversity and the mitigation of climate change. You are therefore expected to be drivers of our national landscape and ecosystem restoration program and lead our organizations, communities, and especially the young people in making sure that our ambition to grow 15 billion trees by 2030 is actualized. Wacha nirudie kwa Kiswahili ili tuelewane. Tumekubaliana ya kwamba majukumu mnayoenda kuchukua kutoka leo sio majukumu ya ajira peke yake. Ni majukumu ya muhimu katika kuhakikisha ya kwamba matatizo ya kubadilika kwa hali ya mazingira yanashughulikiwa. Azma yetu kama taifa kupanda miche bilioni 15 inatimia. Na vile vile tunapata nafasi kama taifa kutumia rasilimali zetu za misitu kuongeza nafasi za ajira na vile vile kuzalisha uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya kwa kuhakikisha ya kwamba rasilimali zetu za misitu inatumika katika kutengeneza furniture ya taifa letu la Kenya, na kuhakikisha ya kwamba vijana wetu wanajumuishwa katika nafasi za ajira, ikiwemo mpango wetu wa nyumba 1,200 kila mwaka. Tutahitaji rasilimali nyingi ambazo zitatumika kutoka misitu yetu. Mimi nataka niwaeleze ya kwamba kazi mnayochukua ni ya muhimu sana katika taifa letu la Kenya. And as the largest ever to graduate from this institution, you are aware of our firm commitment to develop adequate capacity to keep illegal logging, charcoal burning, and other forms of unlawful encroachment and interference with the integrity of our forests at bay. This commitment extends to training and equipping of personnel and investing in technology to improve operational capabilities in surveillance, data collection, and evidence-based forest management. I encourage you, therefore, to go forth as patriotic servants of the people of Kenya and to render your professional service with discipline, dedication, diligence, and unyielding integrity. Let me repeat, unyielding integrity. I remind you to use every opportunity to promote sustainable practices and urge you to always exercise your authority responsibly and accountably. And let me say this for the record, my sons and daughters, the young people of Kenya, as you graduate today, that you have a huge responsibility on your shoulders. But I am confident that the training that you have received in this institution and your personal selection into this great army of forest rangers is merited. And therefore, I have the highest expectation from you that you will discharge your responsibilities responsibly and accountably. There are many who have let us down. The reason why I made the decision that we are going to recruit the largest ever group of rangers, trainees in Kenya, in post-independence Kenya, is because the matter of climate change, the matter of our environment is critical, it is important, and it poses an existential threat, not just to us as a country, but to humanity in general. Na ndio sababu katika ghafla hii ambayo hawa vijana wetu wanapata nafasi ya kufuzu wakiwa ni cohort ama vijana ambao wanafuzu leo ni vijana 2,664. Tuko pia na forest officers ambao watakuja hapa baada ya graduation hii 600 watakao sasa tusaidia kusimamia misitu yetu katika taifa letu la Kenya. Na tumefanya hivi makusudi kwa sababu tuko na mambo manne ya muhimu. Ya kwanza, tuko na matatizo ya kubadilika kwa mazingira, na ni lazima tushughulikie tatizo hilo kwa sababu ni ya muhimu. Tumepoteza wanyama wengi, mifugo yetu pamoja na wanyama wa pori kwa sababu ya mabadiliko ya mazingira, na ni lazima tubadilishe mienendo yetu, kupanda miti vile tumesema bilioni 15, na nyinyi vijana wetu ndio mtakao tusaidia kutekeleza wajibu huo. Jambo la pili, tumekuwa na matatizo makubwa kulinda misitu yetu na mazingira yetu, na imechangiwa kwa sehemu na officers wetu wachache. Kwa sababu ya uchache wa officers wetu ndio tumepata matatizo. Ndio tuliamua kama serikali that tutaongeza maradufu. We are going to double the officers that will assist the country manage our forest reserves. Kwa hivyo ni jambo la pili ya muhimu kwamba hawa officers wengi ambao tumewaajiri ni kwa sababu tunataka tuondoe changamoto ya kuharibika kwa misitu yetu. Na jambo la 4 ni kwamba tunataka kutumia rasilimali zetu za misitu kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunapata nafasi ya ajira katika sekta yetu ya kutengeneza furniture. Katika budget yetu ya mwaka huu tumeweka ushuru kwa wale wanataka kutuletea furniture kutoka nchi zingine, na tuko na vijana wetu wengi wamesoma, wako na uwezo wa kututengenezea furniture katika taifa letu la Kenya. Kwa hivyo jukumu letu katika kushughulikia sekta hii ni kuhakikisha kwamba tunapanua nafasi za ajira kupitia sekta hii ya kutumia rasilimali yetu ya misitu, kuhakikisha kwamba hatuagizi vitanda na meza na furniture na viti kutoka nchi zingine zitengenezwe na vijana wa taifa letu la Kenya, tukitumia rasilimali yetu ya misitu ya taifa la Kenya. Na ndio sababu tunaongeza hawa officers watuchungie rasilimali hizo, ili wale watu wachache ambao wametumia hizo rasilimali kwa njia isiyofaa tuweze kuwazuia. Na jambo la 4, tunataka pia kutumia rasilimali zetu za misitu kuzalisha uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya, ili tuweze kutumia rasilimali ambazo ziko Kenya kuhakikisha ya kwamba hatutumi foreign exchange ama pesa zetu za kigeni tukiwa tunaagiza vitu ambavyo zinaweza kutengenezwa na vijana wetu katika Kenya wakitumia rasilimali zetu hapa Kenya. Na ndio sababu na mimi nataka niwashukuru communities, jamii ambazo wanaishi karibu na misitu. Wengi wa community forest associations wametusaidia sehemu kubwa kuhakikisha kwamba uharibifu wa mazingira ama misitu haiendelei wakiwa pale wakitazama. Kupitia kwa ushirikiano na wizara ambayo inahusika na na KFS, kumepatikana wale wafanyikazi wa KFS waliozembea kazini, walio wafisadi na walioshughulika na kusaidia kuharibika kwa misitu ya taifa letu la Kenya. Na nimeamrisha bodi ya KFS, hawa wote waliopatikana aidha wakizembea ama wakijihusisha na ufisadi ama wakichangia kuharibika kwa misitu yetu, wote waondolewe kazini na wapelekwe kotini. Wamepatikana tayari forest managers and forest rangers 23. Those who have been found either compromised, incompetent, or engaged in corruption in this space that has led to the destruction of our forest assets. I have instructed the board to remove them from being officers of government and workers of government, and as the DCI is concluding investigations, to make sure that these people are prosecuted. From tomorrow, I don't want them in government payroll. These are people who are saboteurs and who are encouraging the destruction of our environment. There must be a thorough cleanup in the Kenya Forest Service. And I have instructed the ministry to make sure that the tragedy that had become of the Kenya forest and environmental conservation in our country must come to an end. And that we are going to take whatever steps that are necessary to protect our environment, to protect our forests, and to make sure that the many good officers in the Kenya Forest Service, including those who are joining today, who are before me, have an opportunity to serve our country with integrity. Let me also say and congratulate the National Youth Service for working with our Kenya Forest Service in sharing these facilities of training. This is the true spirit of one government approach. We must continue to share all the facilities that we have, either for training or any other facilities, so that we can make sure that we use optimally all the infrastructure that we have at our disposal. I also want to state here and congratulate the management of Kenya Forest Service. I am informed that the uniform that these graduates are wearing and also the shoes are all locally made in Kenya by Kenyans. And I have already issued instructions going forward. All uniforms, shoes, and other pieces and items of clothing that are required by all our security services must be manufactured locally by our companies and made by our Kenyan young people. Let me also underscore that going into the future, we will continuously refine and review the terms of service of all our officers. We've just concluded one for our police, prisons, and NYS. We will embark on Kenya Forest Service and KWS to see how they too can work in an environment where the people of Kenya appreciate the contribution they are making towards making our country sustainable. Let me conclude by saying that we will not allow the few people engaged in criminal activity to deny us the opportunity to exploit our commercial forests, our forest assets, for the growth of our country and the growth of our economy and the creation of jobs for our young people. We will deal firmly with them. We will be decisive and give ourselves the opportunity to use our forest assets responsibly, sustainably, to grow our economy, grow our jobs as we grow our country. I commend you, young people here, for your successful undertaking in this useful and rigorous education and training program, and congratulate you on your graduation. On behalf of the people and government of Kenya, I wish you God's blessings and success as you serve your nation and as you help us save our planet from climate disaster. Thank you very much. Congratulations again. My very best wishes. Na vile waziri amesema, na nimefurahi ya kwamba tuko na Wakenya wengi. Nimeambiwa hapa ya kwamba kuna Wakenya hapa karibu 30,000 na wamekuja kusherehekea graduation hii ambaye nimesema ndio kubwa zaidi tangu tuwe taifa huru kwa watu wa Kenya Forest Service. Na tunafanya hivi makusudi kwa sababu ni jambo la muhimu sana katika taifa letu. Tunangojea mvua ya wakati huu, na tumekubaliana ya kwamba katika msimu huu wa short rains tayari Kenya Forest Service na Wizara ya Environment wako na miche milioni 150. Na mimi nataka niwaulize Wakenya wote katika kila sehemu ya Kenya, haya miche ama ya seedlings milioni 150, kila mmoja wetu ashughulike, kila department, kila wizara, kila kitengo, na hata watu wa private sector tujumuike pamoja, kwa sababu yale tunayofanya ni mazingira ya taifa letu na inatuhusu sisi zote. Asanteni sana, na mkienda nyumbani msalimie wazazi wenu, na kwa wazazi mliokuja hapa asanteni sana kwa kuheshimu hawa vijana na kwa kuja katika sherehe hii ya kufuzu kwao, kwa sababu pia nanyi mnatambua umuhimu wa mazingira na kazi vijana hawa wataenda kutimiza. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Thank you very much.
Basi baada ya heko kwa Mheshimiwa Rais,
mkuu wa gwaride ataomba ruhusa ili aliondoe gwaride.
Your Excellency, may I have your permission to march off the parade service? battle number 4. Those side, number 10, number 11, number 10, those side. Those. Man. Tully up! Right! Eyes front! Right! Right, my come! In with time! To your details! Fire the lamp! Big man!
Kwa amri sasa Mheshimiwa Rais, maafisa hawa wanaondoka kujiunga na maafisa wenzao katika jukumu la kulinda na kuhifadhi misitu yetu kwa mwendo wa kasi. Kwenda kuhudumia Wakenya na kulinda misitu yetu na kutilia maanani agizo lake Mheshimiwa Rais. Vikundi vyote 60 vitapita hapa kwa mara ya mwisho kabisa kwenda kulinda misitu yetu na kuhakikisha kwamba misitu yetu iko imara masaa 24. Mheshimiwa Rais kuweza kupokea heshima za askari hawa wanapoondoka sasa kuweza kujiunga na wenzao walioko kule nyanjani. Mheshimiwa Rais, kikundi cha kwanza kinaongozwa naye mkuu wa gwaride Superintendent Matthew Chirchir, akisaidiana naye Company Commander Chief Inspector Ken Bartagon. Mkuu wa kikundi hicho ni Inspector Samuel Lekshon. Anayeshughulikia nidhamu ya kikundi hiki ni Sergeant Felix Saitabao. Kikundi cha pili Mheshimiwa Rais kinaongozwa naye Chief Inspector Moredi, akisaidiana naye Inspector Fidelia Aroni. Nyuma yake Mheshimiwa Rais ni Sergeant Masai Kibet. Akiwa tayari kabisa Mheshimiwa Rais kujiunga na wenzao kule nyanjani, askari hao wakiwa wamejawa na furaha. Baada ya hapa basi wataweza kujiunga na wananchi na kushirikiana na vikosi vingine vya usalama nchini kuhakikisha kwamba misitu yetu iko salama. Mheshimiwa Rais, ikiwa ndo mwisho wa gwaride letu, kinapita sasa kikundi cha 60 kikiwa chini ya usimamizi wake Inspector Daniel Owino, akisaidiana naye Sergeant Daud Angelo, naye Parade RSM Sergeant Basai Matech, kiranja wa gwaride Chief Inspector Clement Naukot. Mwisho kabisa ni bendi yetu ikitoa heshima zao mbele ya Mheshimiwa Rais. Mheshimiwa Rais, mkuu wa gwaride Superintendent Matthew Chirchir amekuja kuidhinisha mwisho wa gwaride na kuomba ruhusa ya kuondoka. Basi mkuu wa gwaride letu amekuja kuomba ruhusa rasmi ili aondoke, ikiwa ndo mwisho wa gwaride letu siku ya leo. Huku haya yakijiri, baada ya hapo basi tutaweza kupata vipindi mbalimbali vya burudani, ukiwemo mchezo wa kwatu ya kunyamaa na vile vile mchezo wa karate na kwaya zetu. Ikiwa ni rasmi kwamba askari wetu wamefuzu, basi tayari kabisa kuweza kujiunga na vikosi vingine vya kulinda usalama wa nchi yetu. Askari hawa wako tayari kabisa kuweza kulinda misitu yetu na kuhakikisha kwamba misitu yetu iko imara masaa 24. Kumbuka, hii ni kutilia mkazo ajenda ya Mheshimiwa Rais ya upanzi wa miche bilioni 15 itimiapo mwaka 2032. Kenya Forest Service kwa mara ya kwanza kabisa chini ya uongozi wa rais wetu, rais wa awamu ya 5, tumeweza kuwa na idadi kubwa ya maaskari wetu watakaowezesha misitu yetu
parade display. May I have your permission to carry on with entertainment service?
Mkuu wa gwaride Superintendent Matthew Chirchir amekuja kuidhinisha mwisho wa gwaride na kuomba ruhusa ya kuondoka. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa hivi sasa nampisha mwenzangu Inspector Gitau Njoroge aweze kutongoza katika kipindi kifupi cha burudani. Welcome your excellency.
Asante sana mwenzangu Inspector Marwa. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa heshima na taathima, naomba nikubalie tuingie kwenye kipindi kifupi cha burudani. Mheshimiwa Rais, watakaofungua ukurasa huu ni onyesho la kwato ya kunyamaa, yani silent drill. Anayeongoza kundi hili Mheshimiwa Rais ni Sergeant Daudi Boru. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais.
Mheshimiwa Rais, katikati mwa uwanja ni mkuu wa kundi la kwato la kunyamaa Sergeant Daudi Boru anaomba idhini ya kuingiza kundi lake rasmi kwenye uwanja. Wataungana kisha kuja mbele ya jukwaa kwa minajili ya kuomba idhini ya kuanza maonyesho yao. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa idhini yako ngeomba uweze kusimama kupokea heshima zao na kuidhinisha kuanza maonyesho yao rasmi. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais. Mchezo huu Mheshimiwa Rais utachukua takriban dakika 7. Watatengana katika makundi 8 kuashiria jinsi maafisa wetu watakavyotengana ili kwenda kuhakikisha misitu yetu ipo imara kila pande. Watarejeana kuashiria kwamba jinsi sisi askari wa mseto tuna hulka ya kuja kwa pamoja kwa minajili ya kupewa majukumu mengine. Watagawanyika kisha kurudiana kwa mtindo unaojulikana kwa lugha ya Kimombo creek crossing. Mheshimiwa Rais, mchezo huu unajumuisha maafala 86 kiwemo wale wa kiume pamoja na wale wa kike, ikiwa tumepigia msasa usawa wa jinsia. Watarudi kisha kutengana katika makundi mawili, kisha kila moja kwenda katika maeneo yake ya kazi. Wanarudiana kwa mtindo maalum unaojulikana kama Russian match, wakiwa wanahesabu hatua 21. Wanatengana Mheshimiwa Rais, na katika kutengana katika makundi mawili watagawanyika tena katika makundi 7. Katika makundi hayo kutakuwa na maonyesho tofauti. Kubadilishana silaha ikiwa inaashiria uaminifu kazini, kwani katika kazi yetu ya askari pasipo na uaminifu kuna utendakazi utakaofanyika. Mtindo huo wa silaha ni dhihirisho jinsi wapo tayari kukabiliana na adui yoyote atakayekuwa ana hisia ya kuharibu misitu yetu. Watarejeana tena na kuwa kundi moja kama ilivyokujuza awali. Askari wa msitu wana hulka ya kuwasikia kwao bila hata kupewa amri. Wanashirikiana kuunda nembo ambayo ndio crown halisi ya kikosi chetu cha wanamsitu. kisha baadaye watatujuza ujumbe fulani, tuwape sikio tujue ni yapi wanayo ya kutujuza. $15 billion trees vision 2032 ikiwa ni ajenda yako Mheshimiwa Rais, inapigiwa tu msasa. Timu hapo mwaka 2032 kila kitu kitakuwa kipo shwari na imara. Watatengana tena katika makundi mane, wengine wakiwa artisti, na katika kutengana kwao watashirikiana kuunda miduara, na katika duara hizo kutakuwa na mizunguko kadha. Mheshimiwa Rais, mizunguko hiyo inaashiria jinsi tumeizunguka taifa letu la Kenya kuhakikisha msitu wetu ipo imara masaa 24. Wanarejeana kwa pamoja kisha kumchukua kwenda kule nyuma kumchukua mkuu wao ili waje mbele ya jukwaa kwa minajili ya kuomba idhini ya kuondoa kundi lao kwenye uwanja. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa heshima na taadhima, ningeomba uweze kuipokea heshima zao. Watatengana tena katika makundi mawili kisha kutujuza ujumbe fulani. Wataungana kisha kutoka kwa pamoja, huku silaha zao zikiwa zinalenga angani kuashiria jinsi wapo imara. Jamani, tuwape makofi. Asante sana na kwatu la kunyamaa.
Wanakarate, Mheshimiwa Rais, mbele ya jukwaa ili kuanza maonyesho yao rasmi. Mheshimiwa Rais, wamo chini ya Sergeant Paul Wamalwa wa Bomba ambaye amebobea katika maonyesho haya. Ikiwa ni idhini ya kuanza maonyesho yao rasmi. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa sasa ni onyesho la combination of techniques kwa kimombo. Mheshimiwa Rais, wanaonyesha jinsi watakapokuwa wakikadiriana na wahalifu pale msituni. Mheshimiwa Rais, ikiwa ni onyesho la street fight. Mheshimiwa Rais, mafunzo haya ni ya manufaa zaidi kwenye askari hao, maana wanaweza kukadiriana na adui pale msituni hata bila silaha yoyote. Askari wameweza kuwanasa wahalifu. Mheshimiwa Rais, ni onyesho la Ipon Committee wakikadiriana wawili kwa wawili. Mheshimiwa Rais, wasichana hawakuachwa nyuma katika maonyesho haya. Yote ikiwa ni mafunzo ambayo tumepokea hapa katika idara yetu ya service. Mheshimiwa Rais, ni onyesho lingine, onyesho la targets, breakings na acrobatic. Guru wa Simba yule, Mheshimiwa Rais. Mheshimiwa Rais, sura zingine ukipatana nazo pale msituni, basi lazima utasalimu amri. Cha msingi ni mhalifu atiwe baroni, sheria ichukue mkono yao. Tuwape makofi wanakarate kwa onyesho nzuri zaidi, ikiwa ni idhini ya kuondoka uwanjani.
Tuwape makofi wanapoondoka uwanjani. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa idhini yako, kinachofuata sasa ni kundi tu la vijana wetu walio na ujuzi wa kuteleza kwa viatu spesheli, huku wamebeba bendera ya taifa la Kenya na bendera ya kikosi cha misitu, wakiwa na mabango yenye maandishi 15 billion trees by 2032. Maandishi mengine road to 15 billion trees, na mwisho vision 2032 hashtag jaza miti. Yote ikiwa ni kauli mbiu yako Mheshimiwa Rais ya kupanda miche bilioni 15 ifikapo 2032. Tuomba tukasimama wanapopita kwa heshima, huku wamebeba miche ya kupanda. Tuwape makofi vijana hawa. Pamoja na Mheshimiwa Rais, kinafuata kikundi cha kwaya zetu za Kenya Forest Service zikijumuisha nyimbo za kitamaduni. Tuko na wimbo wa kwaya. Tuna mmoja wa maafisa ambao wamefuzu aliye na spoken words. Pamoja na Mheshimiwa Rais, tuko na kikundi cha ngonjera, na mwisho kabisa ni wimbo ulioimbwa na mmoja wa maafisa hawa ambao wamefuzu leo, kichwa cha wimbo Machi Bochi. Mheshimiwa Rais, baadhi ya hawa ambao wamefuzu, kuna wingi wa vipawa na vipaji ambavyo wamekuwa kionyesha wakati wa mafunzo yao. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais.
general exhibition to the whole public, but a special dedication to our president. I wonder how it started is a wonder. It's a story of wonder, that's why nimeona poa kuelezea. In the beginning was a word. The word was with God. The word was God. History environment ilianza zamani. God in his creative nature created all creations. On the third day he created vegetations. Shamba la Edeni lilinawiri with trees all over. You can imagine how perfect it was. Adam akapewa mandate kutunza mazingira ya Edeni. But as you all know, alikuwa na Eve. So what happened next? Wali mess up. They ended up eating the fruit from the forbidden tree. What a shame. So leo hii tumesimama kama marenza, kama Adam and Eve tumepewa garden, the green forest of our land, with a mandate to protect, a duty to care for, and an ambition to conserve. Our dear president, tunakuahidi hatutakuwa kama Adam and Eve. We swear matunda ya msitu hatutakula mbali tutalinda, for future generations, for children of our children, hii misitu tutalinda. For my people, my country, and to God be the glory. To our president, we want to welcome you with a lot of pleasure. Being in the midst of us is an act of great treasure. Your love for us is beyond measure. That is why we are proclaiming our love for you without seizure. Sahi tumekuwa mahasla wamejiweza juu umetutransform. Ati from here our luku itakuwa ni uniform. Zamani ilikuwa ni apron, pale tao tukiskuma boda na kuuza skuma. But wajibu wako umetunasua. Sahi itakuwa ni kuchest out juu ya jopoa umetupea. So leo hii tunapiga eyes right. Kusema asanti juu from here maisha itakuwa upright. Kukosa job kulikuwa kunatupia plight, but now in our lives you can see some lights. The 2023 Lord, we are behind your vision. The 15 billion trees in kwa forest conservation. We must ensure this project implementation and completion as a way of showing gratitude and saving our country from desertification. To our Chief Conservator of Forests, we are ready to task up. While we put knowledge, we are ready to team up. With much confidence, we are ready to build up a strong KFS ready to keep up with the protection, conservation, and sustainable management of our forest resources as our only motto up. Till next time, to God be the glory.
Tumpe makofi kijana huyo.
Uongozi falsafa, watulea bila du. Kwa hima miti tuzeni, mazingira ya tutunze. Na vituko darajani, na vipeto mikononi, kuwaweka ujumbeni, na miti vipandeni. Vitabu tekelezeni, pia miti lindeni. Kwa hima miti tuzeni, mazingira ya tutunze. Miti tulio kisima, ya jamii serikali. Mbuga pamoja wanyama, kivutio cha watalii. Miti mapambo milima, ndio mapambo asili. Kwa hima miti tuzeni, mazingira ya tutunze. Mauna badea, vyanzo vya mito maji. Mlima Kenya Elgon, zuieni ukataji. Chemichemi zilindeni, maji yaje vujivuji. Kwa hima miti tuzeni, mazingira ya tutunze. Rais wangu, kuyajali mazingira. Waziri mzingatifu, wa mikakati imara. Mkurugenzi bunifu, wa bora na ishara. Kwa hima miti tuzeni, mazingira ya tutunze. Asante Rais wangu, kwa kusema na kutenda. Umetujali vijana, maishani kutulinda. Tunaahidi kukazana, kazi yetu kuipenda. Kwa hima miti tuzeni, mazingira ya tutunze. Muda utakuwa kidogo, buriani tuwapeni. Ndoto zetu ndogo ndogo, zitawajenga usoni. Msione si wadogo, ni jamii tupande. Kwa hima miti tuzeni, mazingira ya tutunze. Swala
chorasis korwai gabo kutuma kuturgute kochibobe komailo kokalage kotieni tiendo nikichibe bobege ichibwano ichibwane gabobe ichibwa semberieta na komubukiete Yego chibra kona nyina tanimane Emo chib kora kukonye tumeshwe Amu machibe chibo bane bochi Kima mwae kipaburen Machibe chibo bane bochi Machibe chibo bane bochi Matinka mustego kwa irir kucheme Machibe chibo bane bochi Awatinda yelenga kama binoto Machibe chibo bane bochi Pamaro mango uche mola lute Machibe chibo bane bochi Morebe chibo bane bochi Machibe chibo bane bochi Kerite logo chuchoge Amma uti kyok tukul jeba saboni Yege lurani ima kukoye Yemage lungora kwa kwa ile kamasia Kima buti ninyo gule mongo gastis Enji tukul gotengo kilege nebo mane Amu miche oba nemi tengi psengwete Hei go chinchi tukul meleta nyini man Kote niki lege we negi tukje Kuma chibe chibo bane bochi Machibe chibo bane bochi Machibe chibo bane bochi Machibe chibo bane bochi Machibe chibo bane bochi Kote niki lege nebo mane Machibe chibo bane bochi Matkai besyo ko mei mkulele Machibe chibo bane bochi Igilge gotaka egumurene Machibe chibo bane bochi Sienge giringa embananda Chile vinge nyoru nina me matanda Urota mamite mwanike mamanda Na ile mwandu nigenite nempanda Iya meche beche benango chelanda Ila cheche suta nango che munanda Kucha mine matinje ugo panda Makai besyo anyugo dinge tonda Keljine nego nyurtige jitoage Amakairo rejijine sereti Makamili sabeta chine banani
Tuwape makofi wanapoondoka, tuwape makofi. Wimbo wa mwisho Machi Bochi ambao umeimbwa na Tito Kiprotich, ni mmoja wa maafisa wetu ambao wamefuzu siku ya leo. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba kwa heshima na idhini yako unikubalie tuingie kwa kipindi kifupi cha picha. Naomba unikubalie niatoe maelezo. Naomba wafuatao Mheshimiwa Rais wakatangulie kwa sababu ya picha. Naomba mwenyekiti wa jopo la Kenya Forest Service, naomba pia Chief Conservator of Forest, Commandant Kenya Forest Service, Commanding Officer Forest Law and Enforcement Academy wakachukue nafasi zao kwa sababu ya picha. Na kwa sasa nitaomba Mheshimiwa Rais kaungane na maafisa wale pamoja na waziri wa misitu, katibu wa kudumu wa misitu na katibu wa kudumu wa mazingira. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais. Mheshimiwa Governor Nakuru County, karibu sana.
Good afternoon to you wherever you're watching us from. Thank you very much for joining us for this live broadcast of the Kenya Forest Service Rangers Passing Out Parade that has been presided over by none other than the President of Kenya, President William Ruto. Today, 2,664 rangers have graduated, a record number. This is the first time we've had such a large number post-independence. And this, of course, has been informed by the president's agenda of seeking to have 15 billion trees planted by the year 2032. The live images coming to you right now. We've just concluded the entertainment session, and now it's the photo session. Of course, the president is presiding over that. Perhaps just some talking notes from the head of state today. He spoke about the importance, of course, of tree conservation, highlighting the Article 42 of the Constitution that recognizes every person's right to a clean and healthy environment, including the right to have the environment protected for the benefit of the present and future generations, and to have obligations relating to the environment fulfilled under Article 70. Also, another article that was mentioned in the Constitution is Article 69, that sets out the state's obligation in respect of the environment, which include ensuring that sustainable management and conservation of the environment and natural resources, achieving and maintaining tree cover on at least 10% of the national land area, and eliminating those processes and activities likely to endanger the environment. Of course, among the dignitaries that have attended today, apart from the head of state, is the cabinet secretary of the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, none other than Soipan Tuya, with her respective PSS, the governor of the county of Nakuru, Madam Susan Kihika, also in attendance, among other CSs and PSS present. One thing that has also been mentioned is that the government will be very strict on officers that will be found culpable of infringing the rights, or rather going against their constitutional mandate and abetting crime in the environment sector. Particularly today, the head of state spoke about 23 senior forest service officers who have been found in contravention of the law, and he has instructed that they be removed from the government payroll immediately, and going forward they will be taken to the respective authorities for investigations and prosecution. Of course, the president issuing a stern warning to whoever who will be found in contravention of the law, that they will meet the full force of the law and they will be prosecuted in accordance to the Constitution. For the rangers that are passing out today, the president, of course, has called on them to exercise diligence, to exercise utmost integrity in executing their tasks, so that the Kenya Forest Service that is mandated rather to take care of the natural resources, the gazetted forest rather, in both the land and the mangrove ecosystem, is remaining to be the service that is the one to look up to in matters environment. Of course, the president also highlighting that Kenya is a strong champion of climate action, with a track record of African and global leadership and participation in such frameworks, programs and initiatives as the Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the COP, the Paris Summit, and most recently the Africa Climate Summit that was held at the KICC. The message from the Chief Conservator of Forest, Mr. Alexander Lemerkoko, speaking about today's occasion marking an important milestone in the country's history, having 2,664 rangers graduating to boost the enforcement strength of the service and to support the government's strategy on forest conservation, protection and management. The graduates, of course, have undergone 6 months of rigorous forest law enforcement training, which included a 1-month tactical training in harsh and rough terrain similar to the forest environment which they are expected to operate within. And this segment tested them on endurance, battle skills and bushcraft expected of them in their line of duty. That is why during the event today we were able to see the officers exercise a few of the battle tactics. Of course, we had some showing karate skills, some showing how they will be handling issues. And finally, as the graduates are being released, The Chief Conservator of Forest says that he's confident that they will discharge their duties professionally by applying skills, knowledge and attitude they have learnt during their training. From us here at the Forest Law Enforcement Academy at NYS Gilgil, we want to sincerely thank you for joining us on Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. On behalf of the whole production team that has made this coverage possible, we want to say thank you very much, good afternoon and goodbye. We now take you back to the broadcasting house for normal programming. My name is Yusuf Farah. Goodbye.
So I am happy for him as well. If he conducted that by-election for me successfully, I'm sure he can do a good job at the fund, and I wish him well as well, Mr. Speaker. CS, you and I go a long way back, and I have no doubt about your capacity and your passion for this ministry. What I am worried about is the time that it has taken to resolve certain matters, which I wish the CS to bring this House up to speed in terms of how much more time does he need to resolve these issues. Number one, the doping menace, especially in our athletics. Has the CS taken time to visit, say, Uasin Gishu County and Elgeyo Marakwet, where the known drug peddlers who are misleading our young athletes have set up camp? Has he taken time to do a public kamkunji with the athletes and understand who are these people who are misleading our young people to take performance enhancement drug that is leading to our ban? This issue is so serious, and CS, you know about it, that if it was not for the intervention of the president last minute, Kenya was not even supposed to participate in the World Championship. And therefore, I am a bit worried that the CS and his team that are here together with his PS and the team are taking longer in resolving this matter. If it is an amendment to the law that we passed here in 2016, I expect to see a legislative proposal here, because that is something that has the potential of embarrassing this country in a very bad way. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, is on management of federations. Many of our federations pose a great challenge to the ministry, and I understand about sports very well. Apart from politics, the only other thing that I engage in so deeply is sports, and I'm a lover of sports. And I know the challenge that we have with our federations, Mr. Speaker. And I'd wish to hear from the CS, what is his plan? What is his plan on how to better manage and at least guide? I know because of international obligations that Kenya has signed on to with many other global bodies, his hands are tied on many other aspects. But at least there are those that we can resolve locally. Athletics, for example, hasn't had elections for over a decade. Yet some of the people that have taken the government to court, I see them sometimes in the company of a CS doing certain responsibilities. So what is his plan in unlocking this challenge that we have with our federations? Thank you for your kind consideration, Chair. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, I think there are 4 questions.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I will take them in reverse order, starting with the question posed by the Honourable Majority Leader. I want to agree that doping is a matter of, I would actually even call it a matter of national interest, a matter of strategic national interest. And indeed, when this administration came to office, one of the very first crises we had to confront immediately was the very real threat of Kenya being banned by World Athletics because of a doping menace, a doping crisis that had reached unimaginable levels. And I'm glad that among our key success stories was that we engaged with World Athletics, the Athletics Integrity Unit, AIU, the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, and we were able to agree on an intervention plan. Indeed, among the very first measures we took in office was to host a multi-agency forum to agree on how to confront this plan. And we agreed on specific intervention measures. One of those measures was to put in place a multi-agency team to lead the anti-doping effort, which we have done. We have put together a team, and that team is actually led by a former elite athlete, Wesley Korir, who leads that team. We also committed significant funds, $5 million a year for the next 5 years, to help propel that. And therefore, we have a team. What we realized was that the previous war against doping was rather disjointed, and effort had not been made to join dots. Now we have a multi-agency team that brings together investigative bodies, NIS, DCI. We have the judiciary that is part of this team, so that we can be able to deal with issues of prosecution. We have the Department of Health, which is part of this team. So it is a composite team which can deal with these menace from prevention, because prevention is key. And by the way, for these athletes, arrest of or rather nabbing an athlete is not very useful to the athlete. What is really useful is prevention. And so the significant investment has to be at that level of prevention, investigation. I visited a camp, I can inform the Honorable Majority Leader through you, Honorable Speaker, that I visited a camp in E10. And one of the things I noted was that it is actually possible for an athlete to run into trouble by merely taking drugs across the counter. You walk to a chemist, you buy a drug across the counter. That drug may contain some elements which will actually ring bells, and you get into trouble with the anti-doping bodies. And so I want to assure this House to have faith in the program we have put in place, the team, the multi-agency team we have put in place. It may have taken a bit of time, but remember the magnitude of the crisis we inherited. And it required a well-thought-out plan. Indeed, when the president of World Athletics, Lord Sebastian Coe, visited Kenya in January this year, he sympathized with us, and that is why World Athletics agreed with the plan that we put on the table. I want to assure the Honorable Majority Leader in this House that we'll definitely move with greater haste to roll out the program that we have put together under this plan, led by this multi-agency team. We will also be more available, but I can also tell this House that there are investigations that are at a very advanced level, at the advanced stage. There are some cases that are at a very advanced stage. Of course, for obvious reasons, I wouldn't divulge details. And so I believe that we are on a good course in our anti-doping war. And the mantra in the ministry today is zero tolerance to doping. That's the mantra that we are driving. On the management of federations, yes, if I were to pick challenge number one for this ministry, the number one ranking challenge, it would be federations. And it is across the whole sporting arena. From swimming, we have had a big challenge with swimming. The last 3 months, actually, we have spent so much time to sort out a swimming crisis going back 7 years. We are on the verge of cracking that crisis in swimming. Football has had its challenges. The Honorable Majority Leader is right to say that he and I go a long time, and he and I have shared a lot of thinking, a lot of thoughts around the question of how do we fix our football? How do we align our football? How do we propel and deploy the full potential of our footballing talents? And so we have put together a framework of engagement with federations. I did call all federations to a forum. All of them, 69 of them, turned up. We agreed on a number of irreducible minimums. Those minimums included transparency and accountability in the utilization of resources placed at their disposal. It also includes governance, because the biggest challenge in federation is governance. And I can tell you that when you fix governance, it's amazing to see the results. You can see what is happening in our rugby. We were able to sort out the leadership issues in rugby. Our rugby is actually coming back. And our Shujaa team has just beaten the rest of Africa to qualify for the Olympics next year. And so, if we fix the leadership in our federations, we will definitely perform better in sports. I want to give this as my assurance that we are on to this. Football, we have a plan, a roadmap on how we are going to sort out football and the rest of the federations. But let me also admit that among the greatest challenges we face is litigation. Every time you make an effort, someone runs to court, a court issues an injunction. We have faced those injunctions. Athletics Kenya has injunctions running back almost 10 years. We are figuring out how to deal with this litigious environment or a culture, even as we fix our sports. Let me move quickly to the question posed by Senator Cherargei. The travel by our athletes. This is a budgetary issue that cuts across the whole of the sporting arena, and it is something definitely, I can tell this Honourable House, it is something that would not be beyond the ministry to consider a review in the event that there is a sufficient budgetary provision to be able to provide our athletes with better traveling conditions. What we do normally is that we try to ensure that the athletes travel in good time so that they arrive at their destination in good time and they have sufficient time to relax and to rest and to train before competition. But if I'm hearing this House say that we want our sportsmen and women to travel in more comfortable conditions, then that is something which definitely the ministry would listen to and consider within the normal budgetary limits. Quickly moving on to the question by Senator Margaret Kamar and Senator Honorable Speaker, let me confirm that the 5 million reward to a world record breaker covers two terrains. There are competitions which do not involve what you may call classical podium finishes or classical podium finishes of gold and all that. And the example are the city marathons, like the Chicago Marathon. And so you break a world record, we will give you your 5 million. Now, let's take the example of the Olympics, which is a sport that, or is an arena that also takes pride in the podium finish. So you win gold and you also break the world record. Then what? The 5 million is then treated as an enhanced reward. It's treated as an enhanced reward. So it covers both. But should you win multiple medals, and I'll give the example of Faith Kipyegon, who won 2 gold medals in Budapest, then you are rewarded per gold medal. The reward that we have for every gold medal. And for instance, our reward for gold medal at that level is 3 million shillings. So Faith was rewarded with 6 million shillings, 3 million for each of the gold medal. That is how it has been structured. But again, this is a policy, it's a new policy that the ministry has put in place, and it would definitely be subject to input of the Senate. Would be willing to listen to how to make this scheme even better than what it is today. I think I'll now move on to the question by Senator Shule. And Senator, I want to appreciate through you, Honorable Speaker, for the kind words from Senator Shule. And just to tell this Honorable House that indeed, we inherited a total mess in this sporting arena. A total mess. We came to office, we found Kenya suspended by FIFA, we found a crisis with doping, crisis in swimming, crisis in handball. It was crisis. Everywhere you looked, you saw crisis. And I'm glad that 1 year down the line, we can count milestones of success. The other day, I sat back to listen to governors debating where the Africa Cup of Nations should be hosted. And I said, wow, what a good debate. 11 months from a FIFA suspension. I mean, to imagine that 11 months ago, we were not even talking football because the country was suspended. A short 11 months down the line, we are now contesting where AFCON should be held. It is remarkable. It's a remarkable turnaround, and it's a remarkable success stories. And it is good for us to commend the successes of our teams. Let us commend the team that put together the bid. I really commend His Excellency the President, who was really the champion of this bid. It was the leadership of the President that rallied his regional colleagues, President Museveni in Uganda, President Samia Suluhu in Dar es Salaam, to come together really and support this East Africa Pamoja bid. And I applaud our President and his colleagues in the region for that. Let us also applaud our teams that have done well as we prepare for the Olympics. Our volleyball women team, Alkia Strikers, have conquered Africa and will be at the Olympics. Our women sevens team, the Shujaa, have conquered Africa and they'll be at the Olympics. Our team in Riga, Latvia, conquered the world and emerged top in the world. Our Budapest team conquered the world and led Africa in Budapest. Our football is back. Harambee Stars is making baby steps to come back. Next Monday, we'll be playing Russia in Turkey. And this will be the first time for a Kenyan national football team to play an A-list team in global football. And perhaps where I would invite this house to really commend is our women football. Our women football has really grown. I was with Senator at Nyayo Stadium to watch our rising Harambee starlets. Our girls put 6 goals past a very experienced Angolan team to literally qualify for the next round in the race to the World Cup Under-20 Championship. And before that, the senior women team, the Harambee Starlets, did something that no Kenyan team has ever done, to beat a Cameroonian team in a competitive game when they knocked out Cameroon in the qualifiers for the Women Africa Cup of Nations. And we are now preparing this team to face the next round, and we have a lot of faith that they'll qualify for the competition. So overall, our sports is at a good level, and I believe that we are making good progress. I beseech this house, I ask this house to support the efforts we are rolling out under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda in this sector of sports. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary. At this point, we will give you leave. Thank you very much for answering all the questions, and thank you for the good job you're doing at the Ministry, and we wish you all the best. Thank you, Cabinet Secretary, and your team. Honourable Senators, the question number 11, 12 by Senator Kinyua and question number 45 by Senator Lomenen have been deferred. Next order.
Order number 8, the Digital Health Bill, National Assembly Bills number 57 of 2023, second reading.
Majority Leader. And Majority Leader, at this juncture, I will use Standing Order number 34-2A to extend the sitting of this session by another 15 minutes so that you can be able to finish moving the motion.
Okay, that's good, Speaker, because gives me sufficient time to move, seconding, and maybe even one or two of our colleagues can contribute, because I don't intend to be long on this, Mr. Speaker. I understand the interest from our colleagues. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to now move that the Digital Health Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2023, be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important bill or piece of legislation. Colleagues will recall that when we were in Turkana for Senate Mashinani, I did mention that there are 4 enabling bills to the UHC This House successfully transacted two of them, completed them, complete with amendments. We fostered devolution by ensuring that many of those funds are locked up in our counties, and agreements ensuring that county governments and the national government relate and respect each other, Mr. Speaker. This bill now further, Mr. Speaker, is an addition to the other two, the one on primary health and the one on community health promoters, Mr. Speaker. This is about technology and the use of technology, Mr. Speaker, to enhance and make health easily and readily available to our citizens. You do know, Mr. Speaker, for a fact that many of the rural communities that we represent, if your mother, if the caretaker, the caregiver, loses an exercise book, in my village they used to use the 32-page exercise book, and in fact it will be divided into two. If a mother, for whatever reason, loses that particular book, the health records of that particular child disappear. And the next time she goes to clinic, first she has to do first 5 minutes of being given a tongue lashing by the community nurse. Then they begin to build up the records. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately that story hasn't changed. Even as we've become adults, as we speak well here in Nairobi, to many of the people that we represent in this House, the issue of their health records is something that they continue to struggle with. Mr. Speaker, many communities are not able, Mr. Speaker, to keep the health records of the citizens. Yet we know that we are living in the data age. This is the information age, Mr. Speaker. This is a time upon which, Mr. Speaker, when you provide data readily available, then it is a source of wealth, Mr. Speaker. I know that this bill, Mr. Speaker, is extremely crucial and important, and I want to ask colleagues to take time and support this particular bill, Mr. Speaker, because of the length of time that it has taken to prepare it, Mr. Speaker, and the proposals that are therein, ensuring that our citizens are able to have their records kept in one interoperable system, that your records in as far as Turkana, Senator Lomonen, your citizens, if they come to Nairobi and visit a health center that will be on this national health integrated digital health information system, they will be able to access their Turkana records while here in Nairobi. Something that is done in many of the private hospitals, but unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, is not readily available to our citizens. So we are trying to make legislation, Mr. Speaker, to enable the ordinary villagers, the people that we represent in this House, Mr. Speaker, to come onto the civilized 21st century and the practices that are therein. It's not anything new. If you know about, for example, M-TIBA, it's a program that's run by Safaricom and I think a few private entities. They do the same thing, Mr. Speaker. Yet, it is to the exclusion of ordinary citizens, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, this bill has got very good, elaborate propositions on how a comprehensive, integrated digital health information system, Mr. Speaker, can be rolled out and include a complete medical history, past diagnosis, medications that you've been given, the treatment plans, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even these issues about litigation that you continue to see about misdiagnosis or patients that have been treated wrongly, Mr. Speaker, this will become things of the past, or at least health authorities will be able to refer back to your file and establish whether you have been handled properly or you are not given the proper medication, what is a history. You know, Mr. Speaker, this is something good. This is what we need for our country. This is what many citizens are yearning and dying for, Mr. Speaker. With this kind of readily available information, Mr. Speaker, imagine even the cost of medical research will be brought down, and there are big pharmas that will be able to make useful the information that is provided herein and guide them even in terms of their research so that they are able to see why is it that people from a particular village in Kericho always face are susceptible to a particular kind of strain of disease, Mr. Speaker, and they can be able to release the proper medication. Here in Kemsa, for example, county governments will not just be buying drugs with the hope that, oh, this or that is needed. Information will drive a fit-for-purpose system, Mr. Speaker, that ensures, Mr. Speaker, that the information that is set out or sent to ordinary citizens, Mr. Speaker, is important. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to celebrate and say that Kenya has made tremendous progress in efforts to progress in digital technology. We are the trendsetters in technology, Mr. Speaker. You know that in the space of finances, the rest of Africa, including the globe, they come here to learn of our practices. This is another area, Mr. Speaker, that we want to lead the world into appreciating and knowing. Yet, Mr. Speaker, when comparatively with other countries that are of our standing, Mr. Speaker, I was listening to the BBC yesterday, Mr. Speaker, while driving to work, and I heard on the program, Mr. Speaker, how people have made use of technology and systems such as this to even ensure that all the kids in the country get immunization at the right date and at the right time, Mr. Speaker. And that with the use of technology, they are able even to remind mothers, because ordinary mothers in the village sometimes, Mr. Speaker, are not able, Mr. Speaker, either because they have so many other things that they are dealing with and they don't remember the day of vaccination for the child, or even, Mr. Speaker, that technology makes it possible for community help programs, Mr. Speaker, to be able to send bus fare, either a bus ticket or whatever means, Mr. Speaker, to mothers that have kids who on a particular day are supposed to be taken, mothers that come from disadvantaged backgrounds, Mr. Speaker, and they know that when we analyze a particular lady, she may not be able to take her child for vaccination, and they send them a bus ticket or something like that. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the point I'm making is that the world has made advances in medical technology, and this is the step that you are trying to make, and I want to urge colleagues to support this particular bill. Has good provisions on how to set up this institution, the qualifications of the CEO, people who will run, all those issues and fears that people have on safety of